I just realised that I said that the last podcast was number 4, but now this podcast
the same way, like,
this podcast is number 4. I'm gonna stop giving out episode numbers now when we do it, and just say you're very welcome to your podcast live from Urban Gym in New Ross in Wexford. We've got Shane O'Connor on camera. My name is Ken Maguire. Andy Murphy is on the left of the couch as always. Today joined by Myles Price.
Hey guys, how's it going? Great to be here.
Yeah, it's good to see you. It's like the only time we get to catch up these days.
I know.
Is in podcasts and interviews.
Sure, we're busy men. We're busy men. You know, life gets in the way.
More kids and.
With the housekeeping in mind, if this is your first time to listen to your podcast, don't forget that you can subscribe on YouTube and watch all the videos. You can pick us up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or any decent podcast listening platform. So today's guest is Myles Price, owner, head trainer at Team Ryano Kilkenny. We've all known each other for a long time now.
Long time now.
Good to see you.
Likewise.
Let's start with let's start with today, and how are you, and where are you now, and what are you at? Because you Andy just mentioned it before we started rolling. This time last year, Bellator was on the agenda for both you gentlemen. Where are we 12 months on?
12 months on. Since then, I went over and I helped Khabib prepare for Dustin Poirier, which was a great experience. Not only that, they're like my extended family over there at American Kickboxing Academy now. So, and I also had the pleasure of helping a lot of guys prepare for competitions over there. So that was amazing cage room experience for me. They're basically like fights there when you're in big. So it was an amazing experience for me. And I also got to teach in American Kickboxing Academy, which was a huge honor for me. You know, so. Thanks to Javier Mendes for that. He's
couldn't have been easy now coming in as a kind of a blow in, and then all of a sudden they're letting you kind of do a bit of coaching.
I think it's because they found out pretty quickly that I was a genuine guy, and I was there to just learn my martial arts and to just make some friends, and Javier was kind enough to let me become part of his coaching team, and I did consider him a friend of mine at this stage as well. And I'm looking forward to getting back over there. But since then, that's what I did. I was prepping for the Irish card, and unfortunately, I didn't get the kind of offers that I was that I'd expect coming off my last fight. So, I don't take any of that stuff personally. You know, if they're not offering the type of fights that I feel like that I'm worth after a big win, then that's completely fine. You know, they have a different agenda for me. So I have, since I booked a fight in London after that, which was definitely a lot more up my street against a top quality opponent in Alfie Davies. It was also an interesting fight because he had very good taekwondo kickboxing background, which I favour myself against guys like that. I fought a lot of guys like that in my kickboxing career back in the day, so I knew I'd be able to handle him going in there. But unfortunately, my mum fell very ill, so and a couple of other things were going on at the time, so I had to kind of like focus on that just for a short period of time, and that just meant more to me, really, to be honest with you, than competing. And ever since then, I've kind of really fallen into loving coaching again and being part of my gym, because exiting two worlds between mixed martial arts and entering back into coaching again, you know, it's a hard transition because I'm leaving my extended family in Team Ryano Kilkenny. You know, I'm not part of my classes. I'm not part of helping guys go through their journeys as martial artists and as people too. Like, there's a lot of close-knit guys to me, like Ryan Magnan, Owen Shalmaya, the Nashes, not to mention Mick Brennan, and a lot of other guys like Andy here when he's competing. Like, I like helping them like cope with being martial artists and better people, you know what I mean? And I can't really be part of that when I'm
when you're away.
When I am away,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not only when I'm away, but when I'm focused on me as an athlete, you know, like Andy knows more than anyone that everything else has to be put on the back burner when you're jumping into a cage and you're preparing for a professional fight. Like, you know, your reputation is on the line. You're a professional athlete. That's the mindset. It's all in, all out. So since then, I've done a lot of thinking, and yeah, I'm focusing this year on grappling competitions, which is ideal for me because I get to train in all my team sessions, which is Tuesday, Thursday mornings, Monday, Wednesday, Friday evening, and it's just amazing to be part of the actual classes again, training with everybody and just nurturing all my athletes to get to where they want to, like, you know what I mean? So that's meaning a lot more to me now than competing. But I am looking forward to jumping into the cage again in the near future. But for now, I'm happy where I'm at. You know,
Is the near future a Bellator future?
I'm not sure because there's a lot of things that probably wouldn't suit Bellator for my needs.
Okay.
You know,
Was that deal a finite amount of time? Do you remember when they
it
when
was
they, when they did that
it was
big-
an 18-month deal, 4-fight contract, but contracts are flammy, you know.
Yeah.
They can be torn up and thrown away in a
Sure,
heartbeat, like,
sure.
you know, that's just the way they are, like, you know, that's the fight game. So I know my value as an athlete. I know my value especially from the magnitude of the night that was
that night?
that night, the first time in Bellator, and the lead up to that night. And I know my value as an athlete, like, you know, especially going over to American Kickboxing Academy. I found out pretty quick that, yeah, I am at this level, you know, and I'm able to keep it together on huge events, even when the whole of my country that I've always fought for is against me. So that's totally fine by me. I'm still going to go in there and I'm still going to perform and under the lights, and that is my worth. And sure, even if you look at my last opponent that I bet, like, look at where they're pushing him to, you know,
Sure.
that's nothing to do with me where they want to push certain people. So if they're not willing to push me somewhere, I'll go somewhere else.
You're
You know,
saying that's the fight game. Can we go?
Yeah.
Can we go back to that?
Yeah,
back
sure.
to that fight and back to that time, because that was a from. I suppose with my kind of media, with my media head on, and also knowing you on the personal side of things, that was a different time. There was a lot of stuff that was played out in the press. There was an awful lot of hype. There was things that were in character. There was things that were out of character. There was trash talking. There was all these things that, you know, that armchair fans love, and skeptics are kind of looking at it going, what's going on over here? And then you get the chance to kind of settle in the score. Was there a score to settle, or was it just, do you know what, this is the hype train? At the end of the day, like you're saying, it's just a fight. We'll get in, we'll close the door, and we'll be professional about it and see what happens.
I feel like I had a lot of things that I could use to my advantage. And that's it, pretty much. Like, you know, there's nothing really else to be said about that. No matter what external things are going on around a fight, it's only you that knows truly if it gets to you or not, you know. And I chose to build a boundary and let my opponent feel all the burden of the hype that was going around that, you know. So I just used it to my advantage. Like, I knew that he'd feel the pressure of it, even though he said he wouldn't. I knew deep down that he had a lot of pressure on him, and I didn't. So that was good for me.
What was it like? What was it like getting that win? On a professional level, and on a personal level.
It was satisfying, but it's the same as any other win, to be honest with you. You know, like, I've had like wins in kickboxing halls when I was a kid that I felt like absolutely over the moon about. Like, I mean, and I'll be honest with you, I kind of felt the same as I would after a win like that. Like, it's if anything, it's kind of a relief that it's over for me, like, you know what I mean, in a way, because it's such a vigorous thing, a fight camp. Like, you know, you're sacrificing your personal life, your as I mentioned earlier on, time away from your team, disconnection from friends and family, you know, sacrifices where you have to push yourself to a dark place all the time in training, you know, like, those things take a serious toll on who you are as a human being, you know. Like, athletes push themselves, I certainly do, certain types of athletes push themselves to places where it takes something from you every single time, you know. And I feel like that I was just, oh, thank God that's over now. I'm looking forward to just taking a bit of a break and heading off and doing a bit of training again, you know. So that was pretty much how I felt, to be honest.
Okay, so that comes and goes, and you're prepping for London. We know London doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Bellator happens to be this month, February. It's upon us. Are you keeping an eye on things there as they are? Or?
Not really. I'm not a huge fan of MMA. Really, I don't actually watch it very much, to be honest. I'm not actually a huge fan. I like doing it, like, and I like seeing my athletes do well. But like, jeez, I'm quite sick of it. Like when I don't want to watch it. Like really. Other than that, like it's not really. And I know it's kind of like we'll say a favoured card. So I'm not really too interested in favouritism on cards.
I can back you up on that because my 30th, here's a story for you now. My 30th birthday, there's a kind of party at
what, you're 30?
You can knock another 3 digits on that, three on that, 3 years. But do you remember my 30th? It was the night that Conor v Diaz was on.
Oh, right, yeah.
Diaz, McGregor won.
That's right.
And where was Myles? Everyone was still up for the fight, and there was Myles conked down the back bedroom.
Oh, yeah.
Out for a count. And I was like, man, you won't believe it. Diaz after choking Conor.
Yeah, I was shocked.
And Myles turning, I was like, oh, it is back asleep.
I was wrecked after that night.
Yeah.
Well, it was good.
I'd
though.
often go to train. I'd be like, tell them, chat, do you see that the weekend? See that UFC event? Did you see this? That? No. I'm like, what?
There's just so much going on with it. Like, you're just doing it all the time, I suppose. Until and eventually you just, I just want a break from it. That's all.
Yeah. But I get that because sometimes it's the same with fitness wise. When sometimes people would say to Marina, for example, oh, you're so lucky. Your husband's like maybe a personal trainer. He has a gym. It's easy for you to stay in shape, whatever. The last thing sometimes I want to do when I go home is go and do another workout or do a PT or just want a disconnect from it. So I totally understand that element. Because from the day I met Myles, I've always seen Myles as, an MMA fighter, like, someone that like should be and deserves to be at the top level. Like that walkout that he had last year against Peter at Bellator, that's a stage I've always believed Myles to belong on. The same way when we went to Brave up in Belfast and co-main event against Norman Park, I was like, this is a great buzz. Like, the first
that was a good weekend.
year or two,
it was a good weekend. You were up there, weren't you?
I was.
It was amazing. But like the whole setup, like, and that is where you belong. And I remember when you first opened Team Ryano Kilkenny, and you and Mick, and something I look at here with Urban Gym, this past year, there's been a lot of sacrifice on my own behalf in terms of my own training wise to develop the gym. And I remember that first year or two at Team Ryano Kilkenny, you put so much effort into the likes of myself and Owen and Oisin and the lads that would be fighting because you developed the gym, you built it to a stage where you've got such a strong team now. And I remember you were patting me, you prepped me for Bama 28. You meant to have your fight against McKee and you got injured, but there was a lot going on then as well. It's very hard to balance it all, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And
people don't see that.
I feel like it's getting to the stage where I'm starting to find the balance a little bit better. Yeah. And I feel like I'm a lot more content just letting go of fighting while I'm trying to invest into my gym. And then when I decide to go back to fighting in my own time, and I'm content with the effort and the time that I've put into my athletes and my gym, then I'll be able to let it go and then go into competing without having it feel like that I left a void in my gym. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's a hard thing to do. Like, because I am leaving my extended family.
Totally.
And if I don't put the time and the effort in, like it's been a busy 2 years for me going away to America.
Sure.
That fight coming up, that took a lot. Like mental energy to have that boundary I was talking about. To fend all that stuff away. It takes a bit from you. So it's good to take a little break and to focus on things like that. But
that's something that people don't see an awful lot of. I mean, you talk about going away and you're like, oh wow, you got to go and train in AKA and it was all great. But it's like at the same time you're like, okay, I got to leave the gym, which means I got to leave my classes, which means my revenue is down.
Yeah.
I have relationships at home. Maybe that has to stall.
Yeah.
How am I going to afford this? I got to travel. I got to live. I got to eat.
San Jose is the most expensive state in America.
Well, there you go.
America's pricey, full stop.
And America is pricey, full stop. Kind of forget that there's sales tax then on top of everything else.
Silicon Valley you're looking at there. So.
But people don't. Maybe people don't realize enough of that and enough of that part of things that happen. All of those kind of sacrifices, but concerns, and a lot of boxes that you got to tick before you can go out
Well,
and do
it's
something
hard.
like
It's hard for people to realize those things until they actually go through it.
Yeah.
You know, it's very. You could almost reference it to maybe some part of their life, but until they do it, I'm sure there's some part of people's lives that they make serious sacrifices in some shape or form that would reference to something like that. But
Yeah.
until you actually go through it, it's a very different experience. You know.
So what's the development of the gym been like then for the last year? Because like on the outside, it looks great.
On the outside, yeah, but I'm more interested on the internal, unrewarding stuff that you see underneath. You know, like a gym can look nice as much as you want,
Yeah.
and I do put a lot of effort into my gym looking well and being clean and being presentable to people. And in particularly over the last couple of weeks, we've really put a big effort into that. And but to me, it's about the little things like say training with Ryan on weird hours and drilling with him and brainstorming with him, or asking the Shalmayers to come in on an hour that I have free that I might have had a client or something that I've cancelled, and I go, guys, are you able to make this time today? Or it's I've had a set of clients and I've had a set of classes, and I go, come before class or come after class and get an hour's work in with them. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I know the Nashes are fighting soon too, so I'm making sure that they're getting extra working in the gym. They live a very busy lifestyle, so like say today I have to sacrifice my Sundays for a couple of hours because I know that's the only time that the two sets of brothers can come in all at the one go. And it's not just the brothers, obviously, it's a lot of other young lads
Sure.
that are coming up
Yeah.
in the team, you know, that I need to make sure that I cater for them and show them that I care outside, because I do care, you know. So I need to show that, though. It's one thing caring, it's another thing showing
Yeah.
it. So I need to get in and I need to invest my time, my energy into where they need to get to down the line, you know. Paint or giving the canvas and to them young lads, like, you know, and then they can paint it themselves. And as long as I give them and then that's okay with me, and I support them along the way, like, you know. So it's little things like that that I like to invest what I mean about investing into the gym, you know. You know, of course you need to have all the stuff that you need to run like a successful gym for the general population.
Sure.
But you know, it's those things for the athletes that I'm more interested in, because that's where I came from too, you know.
Yeah.
I came from like rundown gyms where it was only fighters and brotherhood, you know what I mean? So that's where my heart will always be. Like, that's just the way it is, you know. And in particular, actually, one thing that I've been itching to do for a long time, and I invested into it this year, is I'm going to all the surrounding schools around Kilkenny. So the likes of Castlecomer, Gaelskull, Kieran's I'm doing next week, and then
Okay.
Kilkenny College and stuff. And I'm investing my time for free into the teenagers and the
Yeah.
transition year students. And just to kind of put it out there about teenager courses in our gym too.
Yeah.
And even if they don't want to do it, that's totally fine. If they get something from the couple of weeks that they get training from us, then I'm delighted about that. But if they give them an alternative option to learn about their bodies, learn about themselves, and get in and learn some martial arts, like, because that's when I started as a teenager, you know. So I feel like I could, if I could get a couple of them to start, which there's a good, like, even the last day, Mark Stapleton is our wrestling coach. He owns Bodyworks Gym. It's a kettlebell and fitness gym down the road. He trains with us every single day. He's just oh man, he's a character and legend,
Yeah.
but he's the example of hard work, and
Yeah.
he just goes to town. He gives it everything in training, you know. He's a good man, and he's a hard worker in the gym, I tell you that. But I saw him, he teaches our teenagers on a Friday at 4:30 wrestling now. So there's teens wrestling as part of our introduction courses for the BJJ MMA
Nice.
teens,
Yeah.
and they like to watch them do wrestling. You know, it's like, to me, it's like, you guys have no idea how lucky you are to have that, like, you know what I mean, in the town, you know, because to me, like, you know, when I was younger, that was like non-existent, all that. And some of the young lads are blast doubling, and I'm going, I'm not training with them when they get good.
That's what I'm at now with my guys. I'm like, yeah, it's like, be careful what you wish for, kind of thing. You give them all these guys to train with, and they're just, the levels are just, they're learning so much in like a year. It took us maybe 5 or 6 years, because like the guys in Kilkenny are blessed. You got like some Mangan, you got Myles, you got Mick, you got Mark, you know what I mean? You got Sug there looking after S&C. Like, that's what a phenomenal spot. Then you have someone like, say, Richard, who you can call upon for sports psychology.
Yeah.
Like, I always talk about here, and Myles is absolutely dead right. I say it all the time. You can have the best equipment in the world, you can have the best looking gym or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it's the people that raise people's game. It's all about the people. Like, when you got good people in your gym, I think other good people kind of, without sounding too voodoo that, but there is an element that like attracts like. And I've always said, I was saying to you years ago when I was working in WT Arena, like, you know, I firmly believe schools and that like should be coming into like Team Ryano Kilkenny. It's great to hear Myles going out to them, you know, which is awesome. But you definitely people come to.
It's a necessary process though, because it's not engraved into society. Yeah. It's not. We're new, so it's always going to be a thing that we have to go to them.
Put yourself out there.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's not setting the foundations of society, martial arts. You know, mixed martial arts. It seems like it is because it's risen so fast, but it's not integrated.
Totally.
You know, it's
still not like, it's still something completely.
It's still something on the outside that people go, oh yeah, that's getting better. Isn't it? You know?
But it's bad when someone tries it that, like, you know, I was never done it before, and they do a class, and like we've had now the BJJ here, and even the MMA, and we've had a couple of girls coming in now as well, ladies I should say, coming in to do BJJ, and they're really enjoying it, and they're seeing that, like, you know, it's not all about like the violence and all of that, and how much mentally stronger they feel, and how much, you know, they enjoy learning something. You're learning a skill while getting fit and healthy, and it's so good for the mind. You have a phenomenal jits team now as well. You get like what, 20 odd people on the mats now as well.
Yeah, we would. Especially over the last couple of weeks, just been up there like now, and again, it's because of my presence on the mats. I feel I'd be like, you know, totally. Like everyone knows I'm at class now. You know,
it's huge.
And I'm not the guy that is waving goodbye on the way to Dublin.
No.
But that's usually what it is.
No, that's
and I don't have that relationship with my team when I'm in a fight camp. I just don't get.
But you have to switch yourself off. Though, as well.
But that's, I don't particularly like doing that all the time. That's why I don't fight consistently all the time, because it takes a little bit of part of me away every time. You know, because I'm deep down that guy. I can't be selfish all the time. I can't be the guy that consistently just thinks about himself, goes away fighting, and nothing else other than that. Like, it's just not in me to be like that. That's all. You know?
I remember when you came back. Do you remember the fight you had? You had Bill Rayburn, and then you had the really quick turnaround then with Norman Park, and it was like 4 weeks between. And you had 3 months of straight through camp. And I remember the week before you fought Norman, we were in Rhino HQ, and it was one of them days where just.
Oh man!
You remember the day? I remember like in. Find it, like, people don't realize just how much it takes out when you couldn't wait. You know, you're sacrificing your time with your friends, your family, 2-hour drive. You know, we're the ones a lot of time traveling to other gyms to train. It's pretty exhausting. I'm
not going to lie. That day, this is the type of a toll that it takes on fighters. Actually, I had one of the worst, I felt, sparring. You have to always take away that you're going to have a lot of bad days in training. A lot of bad days. And you need to go to those dark places in training to find out how dark of a place you can go to in a fight. You know? Yeah. And it's sometimes, like through our work with Richard Shanahan, that we take away that we have to take what we could have done differently and what we did well. Yeah. But sometimes that becomes completely overwhelming. And that was one of those days where I was outside the back of the building bawling my eyes out for about 20 minutes because it just became so overwhelming about, I'm just like, what? Like, I'm not going to do well in this fight. It was like the negative thoughts to come into your head when you have a bad day is just like so overwhelming, like, you know. And they're the pressures that you get as a professional athlete, and they're the types of pressures that you have to kind of put on yourself and learn to deal with, you know, to learn to like kind of spread out over the space of a camp. But sometimes it just overwhelms you, and that's what it's like, you know. It's, I suppose you could reference it to somebody doing like a master's or something like that, you know. Like, it's so overwhelming sometimes, the expectations that are put on you to do well at something, and if you don't, it's almost put across, the repercussions are drastic, you know. So
I just think back to that. I was like, you know, running a gym the way he's running a gym, having to look after guys. You know, at the time I'm still fighting then as well. He's putting energy into like some myself and making all that, and then he's fighting, you know, Norman Park the following week. You know, and like I said, the stuff that people don't really often see, you know. I think it's easy sometimes to be just an athlete and you don't have to worry about yourself, but when you have a lot of other people to take care of as well, it can be quite tough. I certainly found that, even maybe potentially with the Bellator situation. I had a
Of
day like
course.
what you had that week. I relate back to, I think it was like 4 or 5 weeks out from Bellator. I had a worst training session of my life. I'd been like, I didn't get knocked out in sparring, but I'd been rocked and I'd seen stars, and I still got through the day, and it was a tough day at the office, like, and I was pretty low. And I remember Andy Ryan came over. He goes, Andy, you're here. You just need to be here, but you did great today. And I remember leaving feeling a lot better about myself. All right, but I remember I that's the close thing I relate to your own day that day. But I do think, I know you're upset that day, but going back then, I think your mindset just flicked then as well. You were
did,
back
yeah.
then. You were back on point.
I almost needed that day too, because that
Yeah.
would help me perform on the night too. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
That was a great fight. I really enjoyed
it was
that fight. I enjoyed that fight.
It was a good, like I go back to that fight, and I remember looking at Norman and looking at Myles post fight, you know, and Myles didn't look like he'd been in a fight. You know, he didn't take any trauma, didn't take any damage, and you know, I think
Still
from the
a
off,
3-round fight as well.
3-round fight, yeah. I think from the off, you
Didn't
know,
take any damage. You don't see me leg after that little Welsh fucker. My leg was like a balloon. I had a big elephant's leg in
well,
me.
your face
He's so
was still
kicking,
there,
that
like,
lad. I was like, afterwards, they're like, that lad's a multiple-time world champion. I was like, you fucking think? Look at me leg.
yeah. But they were,
Jesus.
I think, you know, you'd had that layoff, and then you had 2 close fights back to back,
Yeah.
and then you were back into the mix, and then that was all go. Then you had after that fight was when you went to Khabib, wasn't it? Like, you know.
Yeah,
like,
well, if I didn't kind of get like out wrestled by Park, I think I wouldn't have went to American Kickboxing Academy. So,
yeah.
but I do feel like that striking wise, it was like completely one sided one way or the other. He was either dominating me wrestling or I was dominating him striking. So it was typical striker versus grappler.
It was old school, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, very much so, yeah.
Like to have like small, a bit of a layoff. There was 2 years, I think, in the gap, wasn't there? And then to have Rayburn, Park, Queally, then like that it just for me, my mindset, like from going to the Vertigo nightmare and all that, was like how quick things can change from being out of action to then being back in. Like, you know, and sometimes a rest can do you good in the sense of like gives
of
you
course.
renewed energy. to go again.
Speaking of rest and stuff, when are you coming back actually to do some Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Ken?
Yeah, Ken.
Well, you've had plenty of time off now, all right?
In fairness, I have.
The newborn isn't an excuse
it's,
anymore.
no,
Ken's like, Ken's like, yo, you spend the night in my
You're
house and
you're
spend 2 hours sleep.
Yeah, I went to bed at it's 4:56 now. It was about 4:56 this morning.
Yeah.
Oh,
An Instagram story at 3 a.m. saying with the podcast here.
I was
podcast.
organising cables between night
Yeah.
feeds. So it's just,
Yeah.
Congratulations again, Ken.
thanks very much.
Yeah, I'm absolutely delighted it all went well.
I'm biding myself. I think like that. I needed the more time I was out of training last year. I think on some level I needed to be out of training last year,
of course,
and I needed to be out. I needed to be out of a couple of things last year just to realign myself. And I don't think I had done that in like 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
I just say yes to everything. And I do, and then I take it on, and I'm left wondering, just like, how am I
You
going
are
to do
the
this?
gym.
Your energy's being taken by multiple things.
Yeah, and it's like, do you know what? I needed to put it all into one thing, and I put it all into one thing last year, and it worked out. Stuff, the PT stuff, family stuff, and everything is just like, okay, I need to. I can't leave my job, but I need to. I need to kind of, you know, pump the brakes here just
Of course,
just a little bit. And it's near. I say it's near 5 o'clock. It's near it's near 12 months since I was in.
No, it's
on
not.
the
Is
mats.
it?
Wow.
February last year.
Go away.
I swear to God. It doesn't. But this
feel
is
like
the thing.
that.
It doesn't feel like
no,
it.
No, it doesn't.
And
no.
I open the wardrobe every day, and my TRK hoodie is hanging here, and my bag
It's
is
flying out.
my bag is.
Jesus.
Fairness, I was going to wear it. That's hanging up. My training tops are hanging up. My bag is packed and ready to go. And I'm like, Grant, that's cool. And then the 7 a.m.s come back on board, and I'm like, that's class. Yeah, I can organise the 7 a.m.s. And it's like, hold on a second, I can organise the 7 a.m.s, but I'm only going to bed at 5. So that'll give me an hour in the bed, and then I need to get up and drive into town, and then I'll come back and I'll do it. It's there.
It has to be at least 2 or 3 though. That you need to get, like, to go into like a solid JIT session.
Oh, look it.
Like, you need at least 4.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, you know, and Ken's like, that's me being lucky to get that.
Yeah,
I'd say.
yeah. I look at, you know, little things kind of slowed me down last year, and I was like, okay, if it's slowing me down, it's slowing me down for a reason. I work all of this stuff out, and it's like, that's cool. I'm gonna ace 2020. I'll wait until she's a few weeks older.
Yeah.
And then she's sleeping out a little bit longer, and her sleeping
And she
arrangements
look after herself.
She can look after herself.
Get a job.
She's almost at the point where she's feeding herself anyway. Like, you know, it's just grand. But we're talking about you were more so kind of talking about the realignment of priorities and getting in and focusing on the gym and focusing on the athletes and putting lads on the path, knowing that the Nashes are going to fight a couple of times this year and the Chelmayas are going to fight. How do you plan for that? How do you is that a conversation between you and them, or is that you as a coach going, okay, do you know what? I know where this guy wants to be, or I know where this lady wants to be, and this is the route that you should take to get there.
There's no real set thing as a coach. I think a coach has to adapt to an individual circumstances. The likes of the Owen Shalmaya, he just trains in the gym all the time.
Yeah.
I don't have to ask Owen to come in training. He's just there.
He's just there.
Yeah, he's just there. So I say to Owen, you're fighting here, and he'll go, yeah, okay. So, and that's it. So, like, he just asks for fights as well a lot of the time. So, like, there is, like, my first rule is guys come to me to ask for a fight.
Okay.
That's my first rule, okay? And Owen's one of those guys.
As opposed to you saying, I want you to fight, or you need to fight.
Yeah, I want you to fight.
Okay.
Yeah. I want you to fight. Are you up for that?
Is there a big difference?
Yeah, there is, because it comes down to the individual then.
Okay.
Because some guys you need to go up and set the challenge to them and see how they feel about it.
Yeah.
And then you see how they unfold from there. See, since I've said it to Oisin, since I've said it to Wayne and Pierce, they're the type of guys that I have to go up and go, you're fighting, or do you want to fight on these dates? And they go, oh my God, yeah.
Okay.
You know, because they mightn't have thought that they were capable already.
Sure.
But they are. You know, I know they are from a coach's perspective.
Yeah.
Whereas in Owen, he just kind of knows he's one of those guys.
He's always on.
He'll go, I'm definitely ready to fight, 100%. And he'll go, Myles, I want to fight. And I go, okay, cool. So, whereas then the other guys might have very high expectations of themselves. So sometimes we have very high expectations of yourself. It's hard for you to know really when you're ready.
Yes.
So it's up to me to gauge when I feel like they are ready to compete, and they might need for me to go to them to ask, how do you feel about competing soon? And then that's what lights a fire under their arse, and that's what's made their training go through the roof now. That's the switch that they needed to go, I'm fucking training now for this competition. I'm going to town on it, and I'm willing to go the whole hog this year. You can see it you can see that it's made a big difference to how they're training now.
Are you looking at outcomes for them? You look at somebody and go, I want you to fight, and you're, you know, it's win or nothing, or it's I want you to fight, and it's like, because the experience is going to build you and shape you.
100% the second one, you know. Like, that's a crash or burn mentality. Like, if you tell fighters that it's like, if you win, you're awesome. If you don't, you're a loser. Get out.
Well,
so, you know, that just creates fear of failure and insecurities that will not only affect them as athletes, but will bleed into the rest of their lives. And that's not what I want. Like, I want to be the type of coach where not only I can be there for them as a coach for their competitive career, but also for them as people in their individual lives. So I feel the best way to go about it is to be like, so what, you lost them some cage show in the middle of wherever, and like, everyone's going to forget next week, but you learned from it, you took a lot from it, and you're always going to learn more from a loss than you will from a win. That doesn't mean that we go in there with, it's okay for me to lose, actually, because that you go in with the expectation to win, and you go in there with game plans, high standards, full concentration, boom. But it's the adaptation to fear of failure straight after to go, yeah, it's okay. Let's get over it. Let's learn from what we did. Let's break it all down and go on to the next one. And it doesn't matter how many times you lose realistically, but it comes down to how quickly you adapt to those failures to get a big win that'll propel you into more wins down the line. There's a process, and sometimes the process can be straight away. It can be 5 fights, it can be 10 fights, it can be 2 fights. It doesn't matter. Every individual is different, like, you know what I mean? Like, I had a lot of losses in my career because of fear of failure. And I feel like I wasn't particularly directed in the right way in my younger career. And because of me as an individual, I didn't conduct myself correctly. And there was just fear of failure held me back a lot, you know? And but those failures have made me who I am today.
Yeah.
They've brought me these big performances. They've molded me into the person I am now, you know? So that was my journey to get to where I need to. And I will have more wins down the line. And like, at the end of the day, nobody cares about your losses, you know?
Yeah.
It's how you adapt to your losses that matter, you know? And when you realize that, and when you utilize the team, the family, and the support around you, then you're going to see the benefits, win or lose, doesn't matter. So it does come down to the experience, and it does come down to the individual as to how long it takes them to get to that eureka moment that I don't care if I go in here and I win or lose, but I'm going to perform and I'm going to learn from it. Full stop.
Okay. Are there ambitions for the team for 2020? Competitive wise,
A lot of competitions, yeah. A lot of competitions.
Like
what
what would signify a good year for Ryano Kilkenny? Is it
everybody winning?
or is it
the expectations?
Is it everybody on the mats and everybody training and everybody learning? Or?
Both. I want to like my team, in my eyes, first of all, is a family martial arts team where I don't really I have as much admiration, I can almost say, towards people that come in and just don't want to compete but love martial arts as a lifestyle just for them to make their lives better, as I do for people that are brave enough to say I want to compete, or if I go up to them and ask them do you want to compete, to them to go yes, I'm going to take that challenge. So either way, I'd be happy with like a big gym full of guys of average Joes, and I'd be also like, you know, happy with, I wouldn't say Globo gyms, but well, like, you know, guys that are like ready to compete and ready to do well. I want both, you know, to be honest with you. I as a coach and a gym owner, that's what I strive towards, you know, having like a gym full of guys that just love being there for their team and just having it for a martial arts lifestyle, but also a set of guys that are serious about competing too, you know.
You're on a similar path, coaching wise.
Yeah, I am. Just going back to even what Myles was saying there about like going to somebody and saying, you know, do you want to compete? Like, I put myself back in my early days, and a coach comes to me and asks me, you know, do you want to compete, whatever. If I 10 years ago was going in, I was getting coached by someone like Myles, who's fought at the level he's at, and asked me, do I want to compete? I'd be like, in my mind, I'd be like, yeah, because the fact that he's asking me, he must believe in me. And if I've got a guy of Myles' level ask me, do I want to compete, he must believe in me. So that's going to give me a huge amount of confidence. It always gave me confidence anyway, going into any of my fights. Ever since I remember the Richie Smullen fight, like, you know, Myles told me about Bama, and originally I was meant to fight on Bama as an amateur actually against, it was meant to be Keane Cowley. I think Keane broke his hand or something. So that fight got pulled, and, you know, I was out of that, and that was grand. And then Myles rang me then and said, hey Andy, we got a fight there on Bama. It's Richie Smullen. And I was like, wow, he's pro, isn't he? I was like, yeah, but sure, no difference. And then straight away with him saying the way that he said it to me, I was like, sure, like, it just gave me the confidence again to be like, well, sure, look, Beck, I was meant to fight Richie at amateur, and this is no difference now. It's just, you know, pro rules now are 4-ounce gloves. Still, I always fought my amateur career, no shin pads anyway. The only difference now is going from 6-ounce gloves to 4-ounce, and heel hooks for now are allowed. And yeah, I got heel hooked, but you're fake it. It was grand. It was grand. But Joe, what I'm trying to say is the confidence that you get from your coach asking you that sort of question, in the sense of he must believe me, he must think I'm good, and then you just sometimes need that. Because for me, I was always one of them guys. I had a bit of belief myself, but when, you know, someone like Myles comes in and says that to me, or, you know, working with like so Richie then, and Andy Ryan's obviously been a massive influence then as well. When you have someone of his level of coaching and experience, and they're telling you that they believe in you. It makes you walk that little bit taller. I don't know if people would have seen that film. Was it Kingdom of Heaven? And there's all them like guys that aren't knights and they're just civilians and they're all cowards because they're at the walls and there's an army about to approach them. But your man knights all of the people and says arise, and everyone's wearing their chin is up, their chest is out, they're feeling proud. Nothing's changed. They've just been told they're now a knight. 2 seconds ago they weren't, but now they feel confident to go and fight that army in front of them. And that's what I always felt with the likes of Myles in my corner, Mick, Andy Ryan. It didn't matter who was in front of me. I had them boys behind me. They believed in me. And that's what I'm trying to do with my own gym now. Like these guys that I'm training now, the last year and a half is all. Like these guys came to me with nothing. Like my guys practically feck all. And they've done phenomenal in Gamma, in the MMA side of things. We've taken up the JIT side of things now. We've got Ryan who comes from Kilkenny to teach our guys on the Tuesday, and then I try and recap on a Thursday. I'm spending more time than ever now in the gi. I used to wear the gi once a year maybe, and now I'm wearing it 3 times a week. I don't know myself, but I'm loving it. And that's how we stay connected. Like I unfortunately don't get to train half as much anymore. Feck all really the last year since Bellator, if I'm honest. With Myles, which is probably the one sad thing for me nearly since opening here, is that I don't get to do as much with the guys because I'm so committed to the gym, and I understand that at the start of this whole career running urban gym, like that's where a lot of my I talk about a tripod. I have my own personal health, my business or work, and then I have my family. I need to put effort into all 3 for it to stand up, but there will be times where I need to put more emphasis into one particular area, as you did last year yourself. You talk about your own self, and Myles did that for definitely I'd say a year and a half, 2 years. When he opened Team Ryano Kilkenny, he didn't fight for 2 years, I think it was. Put a lot of effort into developing the gym, building the team up. Now he's got a serious coaching network. It's not just him and Mick anymore. We talked about that earlier. And that's where I'm at here. We're a year open. Here we are on a Sunday. I was in here yesterday. I'll be back in all week. It's 24/7. You don't stop. No, do you? You don't. But you like I love what I do, what we do. For me, at 33, I have 2 young kids. I had my injury issues, and I'm quite content with where I fought. So now I'm just trying to pass on my knowledge to the guys, and then use my network around me. Even having you on the couch today, it's phenomenal, Ken, getting to do what you're so great at, talking with people, conversation. Then having like some Myles coming in then as well. He's shared his knowledge with my team this year. The guys all look up to Myles as well. He's posted up on our wall here. So, they're as much a part of Urban Gym as me coming in here. Like I see Team Ryano Kilkenny. I spent years there with Myles and Mick, and they're very much part of this gym. It's more than just 4 walls. It's an extended family.
You may not be appearing on a Bellator card anytime soon, but you are back in active jiu-jitsu competition.
I am. I'm competing on Grapple Kings March 8th, yeah. Or 7th? 8th. Yeah, guys are fighting March 7th.
That's soon enough anyway. So
yeah.
About
6 weeks, I think.
Yeah. A different preparation involved for it, or is it kind of like it's another day?
Yeah, to me it's not really like, I think when you fight in an MMA fights, like it's not quite as
anything else doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like it's a 10-minute match. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm training jiu-jitsu every day at the moment. I'm doing weights every day. I'm doing jits 2-3 times a day. So I'm counting like almost my classes and the training and my classes as a session now, which is great. You know what I mean? So I get like an hour in between the day to do a few weights maybe, but all the classes like the 7 a.m.s, 11 a.m.s, half 7s, I'm jumping in on all them. And then on the weekends, I'll take that away to like Darren's over in Attic or up to HQ in Dublin, and I'll and or even some of the guys, actually there's some great guys in Royal Grappling Academy as well that I like to test my skills against sometimes, because those 3 gyms are top level gyms, like they have a lot of black belts there like too. So I go, lovely, let's go, so I feel like that I'm just living a jiu-jitsu lifestyle, which for me is almost easy to live. Not easy, like it's hard, but it's such a.
Was
it's the mindset behind it? Like MMA, the mindset behind MMA is near very much on the like you're the kettle's nearly boiled all the time, you know what I mean? Whereas in like it's in jiu-jitsu, it's a relaxed lifestyle, you know. You take your competition and your training very seriously, but like I don't see it as, oh god, I'm competing in 6 weeks. I think I'm probably gonna be like a week out and be like, oh geez, I'm competing next week. That's the way I want to go about with this year.
For someone like you, for your personality, was that something that was maybe missing? That jiu-jitsu lifestyle? Yeah,
definitely. My personality is very much so jiu-jitsu lifestyle, like kind of mindset, you know. I am a striker at heart, really, but well, not at heart actually. I was a striker at heart. Now I am a jiu-jitsu guy at heart, and you know, I'm a wannabe wrestler. So I'm really looking forward to just training with all my guys this year, because we're all doing it as a unit now. Usually I'm kind of on my own, being the MMA fighter. Me and Owen are together on this journey, and like mainly me and Owen at the time. Now that my attention's on the team, there's a lot more with me, but only because my attention's on them, you know. Whereas in before, it's me and Owen and we go team up there. Whereas in now, my team are actually Team Ryano Kilkenny.
They're all around you
for my preparation, you know what I mean? I have like Mick, Ryan, who are obviously two always very hard roles for me, you know what I mean? And then a couple of new purple belts in the gym as well, which will always push me. And I get a lot out of my white belts and blue belts too, you know. As time goes on, you never really want to be the big fish in a small pond, but you have to be the big fish swimming in the small pond to some degree in order for them to grow up to be the big fish. So you have to put your time into them. And I was actually saying this in class the last day, you know, and these concepts come into my mind on a daily basis. Like I actually find it hard to stop my mind coming up with concepts and stuff like that, and to segregate it into little categories so I can actually spell them out correctly to people. But I remember I saw some of my more experienced guys going easy on white belts and stuff like that, and talking during training with them during rounds. And I kind of made a little bit of an announcement of it at the end, and I said, if you are talking to white belts during a round, you're giving out information, but you're not taking any in. And the only way for white belts to learn off a blue, purple, just somebody that's more experienced, brown, black, is to actually be put in extremely uncomfortable situations and be tapped 1,000 times. They need to feel like they're in a very dark place when they roll with you, and you need to use them to your advantage. You have to tap them 1,000 times, because I want to work this certain chain or this certain guard or this certain system that I want to implement in my matches against guys at my level or higher. And that's how you get the most out of guys who are not as experienced or as good as you, because they're learning how to deal with a high level guy. Their defense is going through the roof. They are learning stuff that not any class with any amount of technique will teach them. That's how you learn, really. You learn how you need to be taught in baby steps, but you need to learn how to run before you can walk in jiu-jitsu too, you know. I need to, like, when I roll against my white belts, I absolutely go to town on them, and they know it by the end of it. They're wrecked. They feel like that they want to tap just for me being on their pressure on them. And great, because they're getting used to that. They're getting used to being uncomfortable in those places.
And the next time won't be so bad.
And no, won't be. They're mentally getting stronger. And they're also, when they get something like, if I knee ride them 10 times in a round and it led to an armbar, I can guarantee you they'll be very, very quick to find out their own way, or ask about how to stop that knee going on their belly, or defending their arm at a much quicker rate. And no amount of classes is going to teach them that. They need to feel it. They need to feel it in a roll. And it was kind of like a moment that they had where they're like, oh yeah, I suppose that's right. Like, because and it's an easy thing to fall into, to feel like that you're helping somebody by slowing it down and talking to them, but you're mollycoddling them, you know what I mean? It's not actually any good for them, you know what I mean? Like that,
tough love.
Yeah, you need tough love. You need tough love. You need tough love in jiu-jitsu. That's just the way it is, you know.
So what does the rest of 2020 look like?
Rest of 2020 for me is a lot of professional style jiu-jitsu competitions for me, bringing my team to a new level, especially my MMA BJJ competitors, but also putting a lot of time and effort into the guys that generally just love doing, the general population that just love doing martial arts in my gym.
Yeah.
You know, So that's pretty much it for me. That's my goal for this year.
Nice. Classes all week long.
All week long. Yeah, 2-3 classes a day minimum.
Happy days.
Actually, I think it's 3 classes a day we have minimum
Yeah,
now.
timetable is kind of stacking up a
It
bit,
is
isn't it?
stacked up now, yeah. But it caters for all different levels,
yeah.
you know. Like teenagers are taking up a good few classes now, you know. So
Okay. Euros, Worlds.
definitely hitting Euros.
Eyes on those. Yeah.
Definitely hitting Euros. Yeah, we'll hit the Euros again this year,
Yeah.
and I'm probably going to do the Euros as well.
Okay.
And more than likely, then build the guys up correctly to go to the Worlds, because the plan is for me, my vision is, because AKA is literally not too far away from where the Worlds is, so bring my team over there, finish their preparation over there when they're ready. Even if it's just a team of 4 or 5 of us,
Sure.
we'll do our preparation over there when we're ready, introduce them to my extended family over there in the States, and then we all drive down together all as one unit. So
If people want to get involved into your what's the first step?
first step is messaging our page, you know. Probably the easiest way to get a hold of us, really. Just message our Instagram page or our Facebook page, give us a PM or a DM, and just ask today, you know. First session is free. Plenty of courses coming up, cater for kids from the age of 5 to 12, teenagers from 13 to 17, complete beginners we cater for as well. And we're starting some group sessions as well too, because we've opened up a new area, some group training for MMA Fit is what we're going to call it. It's pretty much just for general population that want an alternative way to get fit, and it's in a circuit training format. So
Nice.
that's something extra we're adding to it now as well. And a lot of personal training there. I have personal training there as well under Magic Personal Training. That I have personal trainers under me there. Paige, I have Mick Brennan has his Absolute Fitness personal training program there. Killian Doyle, KD Performance, does his personal training there as well. He's our sports performance coach. So yeah, there's a lot you can do there. If you just want to go one-on-one or in group training, that's totally fine. If you want to start your martial arts lifestyle at any level, that's cool too, you know.
Sound. Any closing remarks?
Me, again, I was sitting on the couch. I was love. Any time is a good time again to catch up with Myles. Like I said,
For sure, I'm
yeah,
delighted to be here.
no, it's for me, it was a big part of my own career. And just being able to call upon Myles, Mick, Ryan, any of the guys from Team Ryano Kilkenny is always a pleasure. And again, it's just lovely to actually get to catch up on a Sunday when, for me, there's no classes around here now at the moment. So again, to chill, chat on the couch, have a cup of coffee, talk all things MMA, BJJ, where we're at in our careers now.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool, like, you know.
it's awesome.
We'll be still on the couch here, Myles, at 70 years of age. That's
Will
the,
be, yeah,
that's the
talking shy.
dream, talking.
Probably,
Yeah. Do you remember back in 2016?
Yeah.
If I'm still talking to the two of you in 40 years time, doing
the dream,
podcasts,
Jeez, I don't know if you
That's
last
the
that
dream.
long.
living the dream. Well, listen, Myles, thanks a million.
Yeah, 100%
for
delighted to
making
be
the
down
trip.
here.
Delighted to catch up.
Mm.
This has been another Euro podcast. We'll forget about episode numbers. Watch the videos on YouTube. Tune in, download, stream it all. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and check out urbangym.ie and teamryanokilkenny.com and
Yeah.
facebook.com/teamryanokk.
Yep, that's it.
Question mark.
What a pro.
Type
What a
it into
pro.
Google, it'll be there.
It'll be there. Until next time, good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.